You're listening to Artcast from our studio in Chamwino, Tanzania.
Hello, dear listeners. Welcome to Artcast Radio, broadcasting from Chamwino Art Center in Dodoma, Tanzania. Today's topic is about witchcraft, and today's host is Ayubu Mbarazi. Just to introduce you a little bit about our topic today, that as I grew up, I've been hearing a lot of stories about witchcraft, and today we are going to try to see, does witchcraft still exist in Tanzania or in Africa in general? Do people believe in witchcraft? So stay tuned and enjoy the topic. Welcome to Artcast Radio from Chamwino Art Center. What is your name?
My name is Agata Maroda.
Okay, Agata Maroda. I have a question for you. Are you ready?
Ready?
Okay, we've been talking a lot about witchcraft in Africa. Everyone has their own theories. So, just by starting, do you believe witchcraft exists?
For me, I don't believe that it exists to me, but what I believe is that it does exist.
You believe it does exist, but you don't believe it exists.
So
Can you explain a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I don't believe that witchcraft will affect me in any way, but I have been seeing people who are like experiencing witchcraft effects. So I do believe it does exist, but when it comes to me, to my life, I don't want to believe in it.
Okay, so can you tell me a little bit about what you're saying, that you have seen or heard people experiencing something like that? What kind of witchcraft have they experienced?
Yeah, so according to people's like people who I have shared experiences with, they have been like explaining to me different ways that witchcraft exists. One of the ways, when you go somewhere and someone put a poison in any of your thing, and you get to use that thing and it affect you, or even you passed away, that one do exist, because even if you go to the hospital, they will realize you have been poisoned. All that, they will call it witchcraft. Another form of witchcraft is this is more superstition or magical one, and it's very hard for people to understand, or it's very hard like to make someone understand if that person don't believe in it. This is because something can happen, and because it's not you who have experienced it, you don't believe in it. I have a friend, or I can say a young sister, because we are very close to each other, who experienced this. Before, she used not to believe any witchcraft, but one day she met the people who, just by talking to them, just by replying to their hi, she find herself lost, like not understanding anything. They took her to where she was going, because she was going to bank to take some money. So they took her to the bank, and they made her draw some amount of money they wanted. And the moment they took the money and go away, it's where, like, she came back and started understanding everything. So from that moment, she's like, this really happens. Yeah.
Fantastic, interesting, and scary. That means you can just get someone just take you away to somewhere that you don't want to. So, do you think that there are some impact of the witchcraft in the society generally?
I can say there's some impact. One of the big impact is being dead, like passed away. Um, Again, I will come back to another neighbor of mine who was sick, and the moment she was going to the bathroom, she found this beautiful woman who is dressed like everything is colorful and so beautiful, but in the, like, you can see different part of her bodies. And from that moment, it's up to you, because you might faint and pass away that right moment. And some other people have been saying about people who want to have a lot of money, and they give their families or their members of families to witchcraft things, so they can be rich. And this really affect, because you can see their members of families become like people who are disabled and something like that. But still, when you come to dig into knowing the reason, people will tell you like, the parent went to the witchcraft and that is why that happened. So it really, like, it happened, and it affect the community for sometimes.
So, do you think that is it time for the government and the society in general to accept that these kind of theories are there, and maybe should do some kind of research or something? What do you say about that?
Actually, in that matter, like, I can't advise on anything, and this is because it's hard to prove. Like, you can't prove. So, like, for anything that don't have proof, you can, like, I understand. I understand when they when the government don't want to believe in witchcraft, because if it's hard to believe and they do believe, everyone will just be going. Even if it's not true, someone will just go and say, someone did this to me, for the government to agree or to prove on that. So I don't, like, have an advice for that.
Okay, so let me ask you a very tricky question. If someone comes to you and offer you some kind of witchcraft experience to do it, will you do it?
Like, what kind?
Anything, like, okay, I have this kind of charm that if I give it to you, you'll be maybe more beautiful, or maybe you'll attract a lot of people, or maybe you'll make a lot of money. Will you do it?
So, first of all, I'm a Christian. I do practice Christianity. So, in my church, we don't believe in witchcraft. Though, when you come back to early ages, like long time ago, people used to believe in witchcraft. And the witchcraft that I will understand if someone is talking is that, so we had this, like every time ago, we had this situation where maybe it's not raining, and all the people will just say, oh, all the villagers come to the baobab tree and let's pray to our, like, ghosts, so the rain will come and all the members will meet there and start praying, start offering like drinks and whatever. And suddenly, the moment they finish that, the rain is starting like immediately. So that kind I will not oppose, but the kind that is completely different from my religion, that will be a little bit hard. So I'm getting kind of confused because I do recognize um, cultural things too. So even if I believe in some of cultural activities, there are some that I don't believe.
So you just left me somewhere there. So I want to know what is the difference between cultural belief activities and witchcraft?
Yeah, so when we say cultural activities, there are like a bunch of it. So there are some activities that certain people will call them witchcraft. Like among those cultural activities, some will call witchcraft. Though when you come to reality, it's not that they are maybe a witchcraft, because it just depends with how a person is using that knowledge she or he have. So it's just depending on the person who have those knowledges.
Okay, so I just want to know what is the difference between the religion and witchcraft, and what is the connection between the religion and witchcraft?
Um, with witchcraft, I'm kind of getting a little bit challenged on answering that. But because I grew up in a Christianity family, the moment I was born in the Christianity family who believe witchcraft is not good. So I have been trained that well, like that way till I'm grown up, like till my age. I just know like witchcraft is not good, and that is all. And for some churches, they will be like praying for people to stop being witchcraft. And for sometimes I do understand them. If like for me, most of the time I will look at the effect of what someone is doing, because for sometimes, even if it's not what people are defining as witchcraft, but when you are doing evil things, I will consider you like doing the witchcraft too. So yeah.
So, to your perspective, is like using some supernatural powers in good ways, not witchcraft, and using supernatural powers in a bad way is witchcraft, right?
For me, I will say that way. Yeah.
Okay, last question. As young kids in Africa, we usually do some tricks that actually not religious. Some people can call it witchcraft, like crossing fingers so your parents can forget to punish you, or doing something like put chalk on your bed so the witch will never catch you at night. Have you done anything like that?
Um, that's a funny question. Uh, oh my god. So there are some beliefs, though sometimes it's not all of them they are true. And some of the things happen like you wish, and because it happened, you think like the thing that you prayed for really help you, but it doesn't apply all the time. I remember the time when I started like losing my taking out my tooth. So we will be told like, make sure you take your old tooth, and throw it in the roof, and pray to the bed, like how can I call kunguru?
It's a crow.
Crow.
Yeah.
So you pray like, crow, take my black teeth and give me your white teeth, and you believe that you will get the white teeth. And when the moment the tooth starts coming, it's white, and you believe that the crow is the one who gave you that tooth. But when you come to the reality, it's not the crow who gave you the. Yeah, it's just biological thing. So it's just a matter of what you believe, what you understand, and yeah.
Okay, so do you think that it's just only Africa that have witchcraft, or there's other places that believe in witchcraft, like Europe or Asia?
This is another fun story too, because there have been some other people who I know who have been complaining, like, if something happened in Africa, people call it witchcraft. But if the same thing starts happening in a developed country, they will call it as technology. So that is, I can't say more about that. So yeah.
So thank you for everything, and just stay tuned.
Hello, my name is Frank Mgimwa. Um, yes, I'm from Tanzania, and uh, first I've smiled hearing about witchcraft and such and such. You know, I believe that there is a witchcraft, but though I don't believe in using those issues, but I know that witchcraft exists. For me, as I'm a religious person, and even in holy books it have been written. So those in Bible, for my point of view, we call them fake pastors or fake prophets and such. So that's about a witchcraft. So witchcraft is there, and specifically in our countries, is a big blasphemy, as a lot of people are being saying that are being witchcrafted in such and such. So um there is witchcraft first in the case of the first issue about witchcraft. So I, I don't believe myself that I believe that it's through witchcraft in such, but I know witchcraft is there. That's the first thing. So and the author, what stories have I heard about it? Oh, so about witchcraft, I heard a lot. For example, there are big matches. For example, the teams of Tanzania, the Simba and Yanga, these are the top at the top team. So it's reached a time when if they have a match, there are some people who will go to the witch doctors and such and do this and this and that, and so sometimes so that they could win. So I have that also. I hate that. But also there are different places in Tanzania, for example in Iringa and other areas, that you might find that there are some people who are able even to make artificial rains by using witchcrafts, and then the rain is just raining at their only farms and such. So you find that the rain is almost on their places. And sometimes I remember it was 2016, if not 17, we were at Kilimanjaro, and it was like we had what can I call it? It was it was a crusade, and in that a crusade, when we started, there was a rain coming, and the rain is just on the part of the place that we are having that action. So what happened there is that people were praying and such, and you find that the rain was just not in that part, but around in other areas the rain was there, but not to the specific the place that we were. So there are a lot of things that have been heard about these issues, but also there are some people who are not even doing anything, but they have there's some people who are like they're using magic and such to use them in cultivating their lands and such and such. So a lot of stories have been heard in hit. Or but also, what can I say? Yeah, also let's talk about the political leaders. There are a lot of political leaders in the time of campaigns and such. These people always are going to the witch doctors, and they have been given some medicines and such, so that they could win, so that they could witchcraft others, so that they could win the election. So it happens in such moments. But also we have seen nowadays a lot of people who are not able to bear childs, and others who have some problems like impotence and other issues. They are going to the witch doctors, and they have been given some medications, and others have been given some children's and such. So it happens that a lot of things are, and a lot of stories are being heard out about witchcraft. What also can I add? Let's talk about the accidents. It happens sometimes. You might find that a driver is lamenting like, oh my god, I don't know what happened, but there was something very, I don't understand how was it. So it's like there was witchcrafted and such. So the issues of witchcraft are there, and a lot of stories have been heard about witchcrafts. And sometimes you might find there are some places that there are some teachers who you may find that the last night he was slept at his own room, and he found himself after in the morning he is outside, maybe in the farm or such. So a lot of stories have been heard about that. So about benefits and effects. Actually, there are some benefits to those who believe in it, like others they believe in magic money, magic families and such. So different people have been believing that, but also others they believe that they can win through that in this. So let me talk about the effects. So about witchcraft, there are a lot of effects. As for example, people sometimes are afraid of making good things or making development, because they are being afraid, if I do this then the people will witchcraft me. So when they use magic, then they can separate that thing that a person have invented or have brought to that place. So sometimes it leads not to have development in such areas by just being fear of being witchcrafted with some people who are surrounding them. But also yeah, it's like it's not part of development. It's not, because a lot of people are being afraid of doing this uh, development issues, just afraid of being witchcrafted. So it's a bit effect. An advice is that, we have different people who are believing in different issues. So the issues of witchcrafts are there, and the issues the others believes in God and such. So it's just where a person have his standing point, or where the person point of view is, or point of interest is. Others are interested in God issues, others are interested in witchcraft, which, or for my side, I called for satanic and other issues. So it's just depend with the person's point of view. That's it. So but I can say it's not a good deal in such, because not that people are being developed in such. No. So it's a big challenge. It's a big challenge indeed. That's it. Thank you.
The project is carried out thanks to the financial support of the European program Erasmus Plus K Action 2, capacity building in the field of youth.
You're listening to Artcast from our studio in Chamwino, Tanzania.
Hello, my name is Filippo Ngonyani, and I would like to talk a little bit about witchcraft. Uh, First of all, I do believe in witchcraft because where I come from, these stories have been spoken like all over. Like there won't pass a day before you hear a story about witchcraft, right? And I feel like it's not just in the place that I grew up from, but also in so many parts of Tanzania and so many parts of Africa. People have been hearing stories about witchcraft and all that, and yeah, and because of that, I just found myself in a position to believe that these things exist, right? And there are a few stories that I could share, like to support my belief in witchcraft. Um, the first one is that there was this witch doctor that stayed in our district, And it was like 5 to 6 years ago, and she was trying to prove that there are people, uh, let's say, uh, wizards or something like that, who are using other people when they are sleeping to like go away and I don't know, make them do some activities, maybe in the farm or I don't know, whatever they want to do. And so what she did was she collected all the witches, and then she made them confess what they were doing all this time, and they did. And the good thing is that they recorded it, and so everyone was seeing these testimonies of people doing witchcraft and all that. So that is one story. Another one could be, uh, I'm trying to remember. Uh, oh yeah, there was this person who died, and then people started doubting, the death was kind of mysterious, and so they were like, this person has not died, and so we have to investigate on what happened. And so they started running around to the witch doctors and all that, and just to find out that the person really didn't die, and he was just kept somewhere, but like magically nobody sees the person, but the person is there. So he didn't die, and that was a huge discussion in the neighborhood and all that. So yeah, I feel like these things exist. I feel like they do happen. And benefits, I don't think there are any benefits on these kind of things, because then the witchcrafts that are being practiced in our areas, most of them are done just to harm people, and you can't find any benefit on harming people, right? But if it was done for something, for like development or somewhat, then maybe. But so far I haven't seen any benefits of that. And if I was to advise, I would say, like, if they feel like it's their culture, then let them keep on doing that. But then if they could use that to benefit the society, to benefit people, I think that would be very useful. But if it's done the way it's done currently, then I don't see any importance of people keeping on doing that. They should just stop, right? And it could be kind of hard for that to happen. But then if people try to if people try to stop that, like if people are given education on how harmful this thing is, then maybe you could see some positive results. I don't know. Yeah, but so far there are no benefits, and my advice would be, like, it could be an opportunity for a new technology, and so they should use it to benefit the society. But if they cannot use it to benefit the society, then they should just stop doing that, because then uh, it's just a waste of time, I think.
Hello, my name is Andrew Johanna Mjema. On my side, I think that witchcraft still exists in places, in Africa. Uh, First of all, what is witchcraft? Witchcraft is a belief, or any other way you can call it, magic that is been it's been performed for the purpose of harming or destroying others. That's what I know about, um, or you can call it, witchcraft is like evil, evil magic that is being used by people in order to do or to perform evil purposes. Um, Whereby nowadays this witchcraft still exists in Africa, simply because you may find issues like killing of albinos, and albinos, whereby these albinos are killed and some of their parts of their body have been cut and then taken or delivered to these um, people or witch doctors who perform these activities, and uh, they believe when they sacrifice some organs or part of the body of an albino, uh, it's it's like a sacrifice or special sacrifice which will help someone to get what she desires, to get it maybe rapidly or quickly than what uh, God has planned for him or her. So sometimes people perform witchcraft or go to witch doctors in order to get what they want immediately, not at the time planned by God. So this requires a special sacrifice in order to break that rule or to break what God has planned you in a certain time or in a certain period of time. So witchcraft still exists. For example, in places like Kigoma, in Tanzania, places like Nigeria, and other places, other countries in Africa, they still perform this kind of activity, which is not good, um, simply because it creates imbalance, and also it creates um, it also goes against the belief of other religious and other uh, kind of religious matters. But also it may lead to various problems which are not good. But for my advice, or for my view or point of view, I think witchcraft is something that is not good to be participated in a country. It must be aborted. But witchcraft, in the way it is used in Africa, it has been mostly used in a negative way. Most of people use it to just in just they use it just to get their desire or to reach their desire at a short period of time. So witchcraft for real and for sure still exists in Africa. That's all. Thank you.
The project is carried out thanks to the financial support of the European program Erasmus Plus, K Action 2, Capacity Building in the Field of Youth.
To conclude on the topic, I would say that you should stay with what you believe in. A lot of people believe that witchcraft is still there. A lot believe witchcraft is not bad. They believe that, as Agatha said, that witchcraft is not bad as witchcraft, but there's two or three types of witchcraft. But I would say two that she said: the good witchcraft and bad witchcraft. As I said that if you're doing witchcraft for good things, helping people, it's not a problem. But if you're using witchcraft to kill people, to do something that is not good, that is bad. So for me, I think it's all about what are your perspective. I'm an African, and witchcraft practices are just like part of our traditions, and I don't like to call it witchcraft. I just like to call it like African tradition activities. Yeah, maybe express some supernatural powers and something like that, but the truth is that that is us. That is where we're coming from. That is our tradition. We should at least understand that our tradition was like this, and because culture and everything is dynamic, maybe we should leave what is bad and take what is good. But the question is, I want to pose to you is that is witchcraft really bad, or is witchcraft still good? So until next time, your host was none other but me, Ayubu Mbarazi. And don't forget that this show is brought to you by Open Space Foundation from Bulgaria, Chamwino Art Center from Tanzania, Mind Vagant and Soul Expression, with the sponsorship of European Commissions through Erasmus Plus Capacity Building for Youth. Ciao.